Hi guys, I'm Liv and I'm here with Cam from King Youngblood, the fantabulous fabulous. Would you like to say a few words today for our viewers?
I missed you, Seattle University. It's good to see you.
Oh my goodness, we're so pumped. So, a couple things to establish. You were one of our in studios several years back. You've been performing with us. We were super involved with your album Big Thank. Super, super awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with us, Red Hawks?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, the very first studio, actually the very first in studio that King Youngblood ever did was downstairs at the old radio station for KXSU. And I was in there from an old colleague that I'd met through working at Mopop. And she invited us over, and truthfully, it was just the best kind of chaos of like we were stuffing this rock band in this very small space, but it felt like such an invitation for everybody. It felt honestly like a boiler room show, which was sick. But KXSU and King Youngblood have had a very long history in the way that there's been always just a lot of mutual love, a lot of mutual support, and I have only good things to say about y'all. Really, thank you for all the love over the years.
Oh my goodness. That is such a happy thing to hear. KXSU, just, we have so much appreciation for you guys, and I'm glad that we have a long standing collaboration with you guys. And
up. Look at this.
I know, we got a revamp. It's done. Look at these chairs. Don't even play. But you can see Cam and listen to Cam talk and give us insight at an alum event this Thursday, and that's gonna be in the camp ballroom. So highly, highly recommend you guys coming, and you get to see King Youngblood perform. It's gonna be super duper rad. But also, I'd like to talk about the fact that you are a UW alum and you are from Seattle, and I just want to talk about the Seattle pride you and the band push, which is something we really appreciate seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to the University of Washington. I got my degree in communications, so I have a big love for all things media, journalism, like all of it. But we cut our teeth in the UW house show scene, where we were playing shows on like dirt backyards before people were like, okay, how do we put a stage back here? How do we figure out how to do tickets at our house, kind of thing. But for me, my relationship with Seattle in particular has always been one of navigating the balance of looking for opportunities, but also still paying it forward. It's why I'm really excited about this event, Entertainment Evolved, on Thursday, because there's going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to learn a lot. Whenever I'm on panels, I think it's incredibly important to give tangible advice, not just be like, oh, everybody's got to run to their own mountain, but actually talk people through, like, if this is what you want to do, here's how I can support you with it. Be it with providing opportunities for folks to shadow, with giving folks the opportunity to learn more about other people that are on the panel and what they're doing and how to be involved with them, like Eva Sedgwick and James Miles, both of which are professors here at Seattle University. But we've always had a really big focus on having that community relationship and especially putting it forward for anybody that's passionate, especially young folks trying to figure out where they can have their careers in something creative, entertainment, or if it's sports, whatever it is. For us, we wouldn't be where we are unless somebody gave us the keys and the knowledge to be actually putting things into progression. So having the opportunity to do that again at Seattle University of all places, it's a big honor for us. We're really happy to be here.
That is such a beautiful thing to hear. No, I think that that's something very unique to Seattle and the Seattle music scene, the level of community and not only like paying one's dues, but like supporting one another and uplifting one another. I think that's really great. And I think it's so on brand for King Youngblood. You guys are very vocal about your advocacy. I would love to hear you talk about Black and Loud Fest and all the things that you've been involved in and what this new album means to you and what you guys are promoting for rock.
I love it. Yeah. Starting with the work that we've done on the community side of things, we started a music festival called Black and Loud Fest. This year will actually be coming up on its fourth year, but we started it in partnership with two major sponsors, Jack Daniels being one and the other one being Aerial Rider e-bikes. Massive shout out to them. Thank you for giving us the keys as well. But we started it specifically with a focus on how there's a lot of misconceptions about rock music, in particular in the Pacific Northwest, but truthfully, it's across the country, of people thinking that black folks don't make alternative music, like don't make rock music, don't make punk music, don't make, honestly, even like new metal, like going all the places where there's that misconception of rock music as a white genre. for us, when I started King Youngblood, I started it because there weren't really people that looked like me making the kind of music that I loved. I was always a huge fan of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Alice in Chains. Of course, I'm a Seattle boy. But seeing people that looked like me making that kind of music was much more rare. And rather than looking at it as, well, I shouldn't be in these spaces, I was thinking it's like, I need to make these spaces then. When we put Black and Loud Fest together, it's a music festival of all black-fronted bands and a big emphasis, capital italics underline, on bands in particular. Last year's 2025. Last year, over at the Crocodile, it was huge, even just in how we were able to curate the main stage, but having the entire building full and showcasing the progression, music history-wise, of going from country to blues to soul to rock to heavy metal, and actually articulating, showcasing like all of this is under the umbrella of black music. So Black and Loud Fest has always been something very near and dear to my heart, as well as honestly very near and dear to the community here in Seattle that we've been able to not just partner with, but positively impact. Aside from that, we have a nonprofit, a 501c3 under the Allied Arts Foundation called Hold Your Crown. It is centered around dismantling youth mental illness stigmas, reminding people starting by inviting people with shows, reminding folks that it's okay to talk through their mental health. It's okay to think about what things would be the right options for me regarding my mental health, and especially talking to the folks on a younger basis first gives us a chance to nip some issues in the bud before they can kind of metastasize into bigger things later on. For me and everybody in the band, we all have our own relationships with mental health, and leading by example is really important for King Youngblood. But aside from all that, even on a personal side, again, paying things forward has been the only way that we've known, and we're honestly just very grateful every opportunity that we get to impact folks in a positive way. Oh, what am I saying? The album, my lord. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. And last bit to kind of round off that question, King Youngblood is in the process of finishing our next studio album called Outrun Your Shadow. And I've been doing some co-writing on this album with our producer, Eric Lillivois, but also with another Seattle rock star, honestly, the only other black Seattle rock star to come out of the city in that way, aside from Jimi Hendrix, Aaron Jones. And he's been an incredible mentor to me. We just had him in the studio finishing his feature for the album as well. But this album is a lot more serious than our last one, Big Thank. This one's a lot more personal and taking the journey to be a lot more vulnerable, especially considering the timeliness of what's going on in the world, I think is a helpful reminder for folks that being honest with themselves is the best way to be honest with others going forward.
That is such a phenomenal response. I'm super excited about the new album. I think the level of generosity you guys bring, not only to the city, but the industry, and welcoming everybody to the rock genre and alt genres. I think it's just such a powerful movement that is happening, and I think it's so great to really give way to all the voices and all the artists that, you know, could possibly change our lives and will be changing our lives. I think it's such an exciting thing. And the fact that you guys are putting it on is so rad. But you also have been participating in like really big events. You performed at Bumbershoot.
Yes, we did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Would you share some insight about the Bumbershoot experience?
Yes.
That's so rad.
Gladly. Yeah, we had an opportunity to play for Bumbershoot's 50th anniversary, which was huge. We got to open up, I think it was on the second day of the festival, we got to open up the Muro Amphitheater stage, which was huge. If you ain't done your homework on that stage, it might be a good idea. But no, it was a massive honor for me. I grew up going to Bumbershoot and getting a chance to not just perform, but also meet the crew now that they've, they have new folks that are running it properly like that. Having Bumbershoot finally be for Seattle properly, what a breath of fresh air. And for us to be able to be a part of welcoming that new philosophy that is not just thinking about how do we think about Seattle as a creative center in the country, but more than that, how do we make sure we actually put on for Seattle as much as we do for the rest of the world? It was honestly, it was a huge milestone for us because it told me that we are not just being a part of the conversation, but what we're contributing is actually being listened to. And to be an artist that is so proud to represent Seattle and be somewhere that Seattle is truthfully known for in a lot of ways, it just felt very full circle of actually having people put their money behind their mouth.
and speak on it. No, I think that is just such an exciting thing, and seeing the evolution of the music scene here, how Bumbershoot has gotten so big, and all the exciting things. Truthfully, I did some deep stalking of you guys to do my research for this interview.
You're doing your job.
I did my job. Hey, I'm earning the scholarship. Leave me alone.
Yes.
But I saw that you guys got to be on the news and speak about it, and also some of the people that were putting it on, and how they were having all sorts of artists participate in that, and they had culinary stuff, like all these really rad things. And I just think it's so multimedia, and I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that you are exploring all of the facets that make Seattle great and make the artists of Seattle great, and that you're kind of on the front lines of pushing that forward and making that happen. I think that's so cool. I'd also really like to ask you about, so you guys have insane energy at your shows. Insane energies. You guys are climbing things, jumping up, like true rock stars, true rock stars. I want to ask about that process, getting in the mindset on stage, and also, are you guys superstitious? Do you have any like pre-performance rituals you could tell me about it as a band, separately?
Gladly.
All that stuff. I just want some insight.
I got you. So, I have two answers for this.
Oh, beautiful.
The first side is the emotional, the philosophical side, and then the other side is the practical side.
Okay.
Which do you want first? I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you the emotional side first, and then the practical side.
Work us into it.
So for us in King Youngblood, we are a BIPOC band. Shout out Chet, our one white member on cello. I love you until the day I die. But for us, and especially the reason why I started this band, was coming up in an environment where there weren't people that looked like me making this kind of music. I had a conversation when Sam, our bassist, first joined this band, where we were talking about, from both of our communities, I'm Black and he is El Salvadorian and Puerto Rican, and how in our communities there was this taboo about being into rock music, being into metal, being into anything like alternative genre-wise. But through being in this band, leading by example, we see more people in diverse upbringings than we do from folks that are just like, yeah, I like guitar, da-da-da. And that always warms my heart. But getting back to your question, for us, because we are so conditioned to not be in spaces where we belong properly, when we're on stage, it is the one place we can genuinely be ourselves. That's why we have such high energy. That's why we're always thinking about, okay, how do we not just make this a show, but an experience? It's the one place we get to actually reclaim properly and showcase, we reclaiming this for us. But that's also been a massive invitation for folks to be a part of it too. Like if I'm jumping out in the crowd or if I'm climbing something, I'm not just doing it because it looks cool. I'm doing it because I'm showcasing a statement. I'm making a message known that, hey, like this is ours. We own this and we are a part of it and you can be too. Now from the technical side though, usually it happens around like maybe like before or after sound check. I might be like walking up somewhere and seeing how sturdy he is, or knowing actually, can this handle my weight or something like that. But I think there's no reason to be stupid about doing cool things. But for us, that's what it's always been. It's been about reclamation, be it, in our songwriting or especially in our stage show.
I really appreciate the intentionality you guys bring in every aspect of your performances and songwriting, producing. I think it's so phenomenal. And may I suggest a superstition for you guys?
Oh my goodness.
So on the topic of multicultural practices, all that stuff, I am Lebanese, and my teta, my grandmother, always says, do not whistle at night. I don't know if you've heard that before, because that's a thing that's like spread out. I would like to extend to you guys an invitation to not whistle at night so that you can have the best show possible.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that.
Consider it done.
I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, you guys are so receptive.
I get with
people.
Lebanese wisdom.
You have no idea how many of my friends argue with me, and they're like, "Girl, I've never heard of that before," and I'm like, "Okay, well, if you call something weird to you, know that I'm not going to be there when it happens."
All I'm gonna say is, if you're giving me a warning about something I don't know about, that don't mean I shouldn't heed the warning.
And that's the answer I needed to hear. Awesome. And I would also love to switch gears right now. Would you perform one of the songs that's coming out on the album for us? Yay! Okay, sounds good. We're going to get settled. We're going to pretend like it's super seamless. Okay, sweet.
All right. I love this. I like. This is
The little handheld. You dig it? I know, it's fun.
me off this road or we're gonna die. Inertia spells disaster. If you don't pump the brakes, this is goodbye. Dead men close their eyes and act blind. Still, I try. We do the best that we can. It's not hard to believe in the evidence. We do the best that we can, but it's hard to change the minds of dead men. That we can. It's not hard to believe in the evidence. We do the best that we can, but it's hard to change the minds of dead men.
Just so casually, just shreds and like the energy. Ah!
It's easy when it's a part of you.
Oh my goodness. And I can tell that was so phenomenal.
Thank you.
And can you tell us about like a release date? When can I put this on my playlist?
I can't tell you a release date yet, but what I can tell you is we're doing our very first single release party for it. You're actually the first person I'm telling you now that I think about it. We're doing our very first single release party for the album on May 23rd at Baba Yaga in Pioneer Square. If you get off the light rail, you'll be right there.
Oh my goodness, and that's where you can find them. Oh my goodness, I feel so special. I feel so special. This is crazy. Oh my goodness, that was stun. And I was gonna ask you, could you tell us about the formation of your guys' band? How did you meet everybody? How did you get everybody together? Because when you first came here, you were with a different band at the time, or you were under a different name.
Different name.
You had, Okay, tell us about it.
Yeah, when we first came to KXSU, we were a much younger band, but for us, coming into King Youngblood really came with understanding the change in our identity. This band is my baby. I've been making music and writing songs that we've played for this band since I was 11 years old, which is crazy to think about being at 26. I'm like, wow, I've done this a decade. But more than that, when we took on the name King Youngblood, it really came with understanding that the ways that we wanted to represent ourselves as a band was much more than what we were doing at the time. King Youngblood, I'll give you the etymology of the name here. So Youngblood is a term that on my dad's side of the family, my unks and my aunties will all call me Youngblood. It's a term of endearment, especially from like elder black folks to younger black folks to be like, hey, I love you. This is how we are bonded. And on the king side of things, it was really important to me to have this imagery of a leader, have this imagery of somebody who is not just leading, but leading a group of young folks trying to do the right thing, looking for how they can be involved, for how they can showcase their authenticity, be it through in their song or in their advocacy, whatever it is. Putting the two together, then at that point just kind of makes sense. The other longest member in King Youngblood, aside from myself, is our cellist, Chet Peterson. Which quite honestly is such a marker for this band because I don't know a lot of other rock bands with cello in them like that. But for us, we've had cello in this band before we had drums even. So it's not like it's some specialty thing. It's a core part of who we are as a band. After that, our bassist Sam Garcia the very first show that I remember we had a chance to chop it up with. I'll have to send you some clips of it or something. But it was the first show back once COVID restrictions were lifted, and we sold out Barboza. And there's these clips of Sam crowd surfing during our set. I think he was in the air maybe like 2-3 times in the same set.
No way.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then after that, it's our drummer Paul Stick-Stute. Both him and Sam are PKs, they're pastors' kids. So they grew up playing music in the church, and Chet and I kind of came up more on the orchestral route. I came up in synagogue, but we all really approached from having very different musical influences. But especially with Paul's inclusion in this band, it's really elevated things where we're always thinking about how do we make this a proper performance, not just how do we share these songs the best way, but how do we show people that we really believe what we're saying in these songs. And since having these three, join me on this journey, it has been day and night of understanding how far we can really go. And how far we can really go. And that's been, honestly, one of the biggest honors I've ever had.
That's so sweet. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to see you all perform here at Campion Ballroom and get to meet everybody because you speak so highly of them and you all have this like great connection, it seems like. And oh my goodness, I think that's such a phenomenal thing. And you all are sharing the same vision, and I think that's such an important thing. Yeah. But yeah, an electric cellist, that's so rad and so unique to you guys. Oh my goodness, I played the cello not as well as Chet ever. I played for 3 years and then I quit when I was 12 because I thought it wasn't cool. But Chet's here to prove that it is cool. And I just think that's I can't get over it. I think that's awesome.
It's sick as hell.
It really is. And I also want to ask about just like in terms of dynamic, do you guys enjoy spending a lot of time with each other, or like not necessarily a lot of time together, but what do you do all together when you finally take a breather or when you're, coaxing some inspiration out of one another? How do you express love and appreciation?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing, funny enough, the way that we show that we love each other is really through how easy it is for us to real talk with each other. Mm-hmm. Like I've had more in-depth conversations about like the world and how we connect with each other in the van on the way to and from gigs with these guys more than I have in just like my day-to-day conversations with, my friends just walking on the street or something. Mm-hmm. We love cooking. Chet is a great cook. Paul is a great cook. Sam is really good at tasting the food. We love getting the chance, especially when we get a chance to do our traveling. Like we're going to New Orleans for the first time this year. We're going to New York for the first time this year. It's huge. But we love getting a chance to actually be immersed in like what's going on from a local basis, even if it's just from going down to Tacoma and we, ask the sound dude or the dude at the door, like, hey, like, where do you like to eat? Like what actually resonates with you? Getting a little bit more of that localized experience has always been huge for us. But no, the ways that we get along is we all do a great job of like kind of recognizing how we can be the glue for each other. Like, we did a West Coast run actually earlier last year, and Chet wasn't able to join us for it, and it told me so much about how the dynamics of this band operates. Because we didn't just feel it sonically, we felt it emotionally, where it was like really having an understanding of what each of us brings to the table is so much more than just our musical inclusions. It's how we talk with each other. It's how we remind each other. It's how we push each other. It's how we keep each other accountable. And the ways that we've been able to grow that bond has just been really keeping it real with each other. And it's something I'm very grateful for because I know not every band has the opportunity to say that they actually are in a band of their brothers. But I'm very honored to be able to say that I am.
That just makes my heart so happy to hear. And I feel like anybody who watches you guys can sense it. Like
we love each other.
Yeah, your guys' dynamic is just so phenomenal. And again, like, even though they're not here, they're here in spirit. Mm-hmm. But, shout out. Mm-hmm. But also, I wanted to ask about your guys' music videos and, what's it like being on, like, a set in terms of being filmed like that? Because your guys' music videos are so awesome if you haven't checked them out. They're on YouTube.
Well, firstly, we do all of our music videos very DIY. Like, truthfully, our wonderful manager, Laura Lavi, she's been spearheading a lot of the creative on, like, how we actually pull these things off, but we've done all of it from an independent basis where it's like our last music video for our song I Don't Care, we literally were like, we're going to go to Alki and we're going to figure out like literally just invite people to come join us, and we ended up having a crowd of like how many people do you think that was? Maybe like 100? Laura? How many people do you think were at the I Don't Care video? 100 and wow, she had a precise number off the dome. But all of our music videos have had, I think, honestly, like a home movie kind of vibe to it, where for us, cutting our teeth in the DIY space, applying that with, what we do creatively with music videos has kind of always been second nature, for lack of a better word. But it's been huge. Figuring out how to do things from a practical sense has been very powerful, and figuring out how to communicate with people to be able to ask them, hey, like, your garage would be really sick for this idea. Would you be comfortable with us doing this? Or going down to my neighbor's place and being like, hey, we have this idea for a video. Would you be comfortable if we had somebody like throwing my clothes out of the top window of your house? Or, why don't we bring pool noodles that we had from our last show at the Neptune that we threw in the pit? Why don't we bring that to the shoot for this beach party kind of vibe that we're doing? And thinking about things from an angle of how do we make the most out of it, but simultaneously, how do we do that without sacrificing the story we're trying to tell? It's been a really fun kind of balancing game. But for our music videos, it's I don't think we've done one on a set. It's all been from like friends' places or like asking folks, even just strangers, like, hey, would you be down to join us for this? And I don't know, authenticity is infectious.
That is so much fun. I think the thriftiness that you guys have is so it's a phenomenal tool to show the authenticity you guys have in your art and how you express it. And I love that you onboard so many people and just ask me and Austin, our videographer behind the camera, hey Austin, we were just talking about how it's so fun to just ask someone because you never know and you can get that yes, and it's phenomenal, and you've been getting yeses.
And you're doing things together.
Exactly. And also, I just within your music videos, I remember watching the I Don't Care music video and I recognized Alki Beach, and it's such a cool thing because you are so loud and proud about being from Seattle and having that pride for Seattle, and it feels like the city itself is a character in your music videos, and just such a like even a member of the band. Like so rad to see that you guys are upholding that legacy that this city has for music and the affinity it has for music. Because if she could talk, she would be like, "Yeah, guys, keep it up."
Now we're proud to be here, and it's been it's always been something very, very big to us because I got you. It's always been something very big to us because Seattle, in particular, has such a history of musical inclusions, not just to the United States, but the entire planet. And for us, I love this city because I wouldn't be the kind of musician that I am, the kind of music professional that I am, but more than that, I wouldn't be the kind of person that I am if I didn't come up in this city in particular, with all the different swirls and complications that come with it. I've always been proud to showcase that we are from Seattle, and it's part of why when we move places, it's part of how we move too.
I think that's so awesome. And yeah, I feel like you guys are going to bring the Seattle spirit, as you already do everywhere you go. You're going to eat so good in New Orleans. I'm really jealous. I've never been, and that is like a bucket list thing for me. I'm not going to lie.
I'll bring you some jambalaya.
Are you being so serious right now? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm spoiled. But that's kind of all the questions I have today for you. I'm so glad that we got to chat and everybody gets to know you guys a little bit better. And you guys are going to be continuing your legacy with SU, and we're going to get to see you in the camp ballroom this Thursday. This Thursday. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Cam. I really appreciate it. Here, lean in with me. We got to say goodbye to everybody. Goodbye. Thank you.